Welcome to Changing Suits. We're your hosts, Bal
and Taj, discussing the latest news, views, and general life for us Western Asians.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hi, welcome to Changing Suits. My name's Bal.
My name's Taj.
In today's episode, we want to discuss my favourite pastime, gossiping. Who doesn't like a good gossip, hey Taj?
I don't. I never gossip.
Yeah, of course, because that's why we spend hours and hours on the phone. Not gossiping, we're just talking about, the books that we're reading and, I don't know what else you would
I
talk
am
about.
quite intellectual, yes.
Now, Taj. Now. I think the listeners have got an understanding as to how intellectual you are.
Wait, I want to find out, what do we mean? What is gossip? Because, I won't say it to anyone else. I only tell you. I know you won't tell anyone because you ain't got no friends.
Oh, whoa. That won't make the people that think they are my friends very happy, will it? Well, then what would you consider as gossiping? I just thought gossiping was having a good time.
No, I think gossiping is when you tell one person and then that person tells someone else and that person tells someone else.
Oh, no, see, that's not what I consider as gossiping because I don't think I tend to do that, actually. Although saying that now, I'm thinking, I'm like, oh dear, maybe I have done that. Yeah.
But sometimes you just do it without, you don't mean to do it as a gossip thing.
Well, do you know, whenever I'm talking to someone, if I phone one of my friends, what's the first thing I say?
What's the gossip?
Yeah.
And then, when I talked to mum and dad, I just spoke to them a minute ago, nami daji, meaning.
And then your little baby always says gupshup, which mum and dad love because they always crack up when she says gupshup, because then apparently she just walks off after they start.
Well, but that's it. That's how you begin the conversation, gupshup kia.
But then what else would you talk about? We're not supposed to gossip, and we'll go into obviously what we mean about gossiping and I guess the positives and negatives of gossiping, I guess. But
you could talk about how lovely the
weather
world is. Yeah, the weather.
Would you consider, for example, you could talk about the news. Would you consider that as gossiping? I mean, you're talking about, I don't know, what's happening in someone else's life, but would that be considered?
But that isn't someone else's life. That's the weather.
No, not the weather. I mean the news.
Oh, sorry. Obviously,
is that gossip?
That's a good point, actually.
Because you're just passing this information from one.
No, I don't. That would not be considered as gossip. But
why?
I know because
the mainstream media is saying it, so it's not gossip.
I don't know. I think you're being really nitty-gritty here.
You're the one that asked the question. I'm just answering you. And on top of that, something that's just happened. If we're looking at Facebook, Twitter, I mean, those social medias are going crazy at the moment. Why? We all enjoy looking at what's going on in other parts, the gossip. What's going on? So it's gossip, right?
Yeah, it makes life interesting, to be honest. Because, yeah, you're right. What would you talk about if you didn't talk about gossip? All right, you talk about yourself. How much can you talk about yourself? All right, some of us can spend all day talking about yourself. But your own story involves someone else as well. For example, if you've had a fight with the mother-in-law.
Oh, yes, it has to always go to that, doesn't it?
Well, yeah,
always.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Yeah, if you've had, like I said, is that gossip? Or is that something that you're talking?
Well, the other thing is, I mean, on that point, it's also perspective, isn't it? And I love talking about perspective because it's, in your example, for example, if you've had a fight with your mother-in-law, you'll be talking to your friends or whoever you're talking to from your perspective, right? So that is gossiping because obviously you expect that person to see your perspective. Whether they agree with you or not is, beside the point. But yeah, anyway. So
but quite a lot of friendships have been made on merely gossiping. Like you talk about, oh, did you know? Like, for example, you'll phone a friend and you're like, oh, did you know so-and-so, like someone from school has, I don't know, got 10 kids, something like that.
Exactly. So it's all gossip. So anyway, the point we're trying to make is obviously, gossiping's always got a negative connotation. Oh my God, you're gossiping about someone. But how negative is it when we all do it? Because that's pretty much all we'd be doing.
I think there's a fine line. I think if it hurts someone, and it upsets someone's feelings, or
Wait a second. What if that person doesn't find out about it? Then is it okay? Because I'll tell you why. If someone's gossiping about me, I don't mind. I mean, I just appreciate the fact that they're taking a bit of time out to talk about me. But then if I found out, then obviously it's upsetting. But if I don't, it's all good. Someone's listening out there.
Yeah, to be honest, I got this one particular person that we know, and she likes gossiping. And
Are you talking about me again?
no. It's someone that we know from the local community. And a friend found out that she was gossiping about me, and she had a right go at this person. And I was like, chill, don't worry about it. The lady's old. She hasn't got anything else to do but gossip. If it
Why?
passes.
What did she say about you?
Oh, it was because I didn't go to the Godwara for I think it was about a month or something like that, because I was studying, and so my husband, mother-in-law, brother-in-law,
Oh, she said you split.
we split up. Yeah, because I hadn't been
Ah,
coming for a while.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
she was spreading that gossip. Hey, something's happened. They've had some sort of fight. They've broken up. And to be honest, it was just, what is it? Water off a duck's back for me. I was like, don't worry about it. When I spoke to her about it,
Did you confronted her?
I confronted her.
Oh my
No,
god.
wait, I didn't confront her. I'm giving myself too much.
I was going to
Um,
say that doesn't sound like you.
yeah, that doesn't sound like me. I just had to rethink that. She got caught out because a family friend.
Because you hadn't split up and you came together at some point, and you were pregnant. Oh, with someone
When
else's
I was a
child.
baby, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
By the way, that didn't happen. Just so the listeners know.
no, that did not happen. Basically, so no, that friend confronted her, and she kind of was a bit red-faced. So she knew that my friend was going to tell me about it. So she kind of had to come, like she felt she had to stand up for herself. And she was like, oh, I didn't mean it in that way. Like, I didn't mean it. And I was like, don't worry about it. It's okay. You carry on. What makes you happy? Go for it, love.
What did she say? She was okay with that.
I think she was really shocked. Her face was really red. I think what it was, it didn't bother me. So is it how much you allow something to bother you? Now, had it been but it was a big thing. She said that I left and we had split up. So it wasn't a small thing that she was spreading around. But
I didn't know that happened. That's not
yeah,
very nice.
but to me, it didn't really bother me.
Okay, so going back to it, it's always put in a negative connotation of, gossiping isn't good, and something like that. If it had, if you had taken offence to it, yes, it could have got blown out of proportion, right?
It's the amount of weighting you give to it, to be honest. And I think also it might be to do with our upbringing as well. Our upbringing, let me say that correctly.
Our
Because
upbringers, our parents.
yeah, our parents, they forgive people a lot, and there have been times when people have gossiped about them and they've forgiven them. And maybe that's a stance that we've taken.
I think it comes down to how much energy you can. I know I always bring it back to how much energy you can put into something. Look, when I have enough time, certain amounts of gossip or something small could trigger me, and where I'm like, oh my god, that's so unfair, I'll go crazy at it, right? You've said it to me before as well. Whereas if I'm so busy in life, then it doesn't tend to bother me because I just don't have the time or the energy to focus on it. But just, if I'm talking to a friend, or if I'm talking to you, if there's nothing meaty, like, oh my god, what did the in-laws do, what did they say, oh my god, what did your sister-in-law, oh, you're kidding, if that doesn't happen, then it's a bit of a lull, isn't it, in the conversation? Then what do you talk about? Seriously, what else is there to talk about then?
Yeah, that is true. I do agree, to be honest. And like we were saying, it's
and it gets people closer as well. If someone tells me their personal problem, then it does create that bond between us where that person's trusted me with some of the information from their own life, for example, and vice versa. One thing, whilst growing up, actually, I didn't tend to be very open about my own life. I didn't really gossip about anyone. But that's really changed as I've grown up, where I've become a lot more open about my opinions, about what's going on in my life with friends around me.
You were a bit of a hermit when you were growing up, to be honest. You used to
Yeah,
sit on the sofa with your gumball.
yes, of course. Something I'm sure all of the listeners would know, because you like saying that every so often. But yeah, no, what I'm saying is, and that's really helped in building bonds with friends that I never used to do that with. So I think there is that positivity in regards to that. And obviously, I don't agree if it's something negative where it does have a harmful effect. Of course, you shouldn't be doing it. I mean, one thing I hate is someone saying one thing here and then turning around saying something there, and then it just goes around the town like Chinese whispers, if that's the politically correct thing to say. I don't know if it's not anymore. But that's what I don't agree with. If you're doing some serious bitching, I don't agree with that.
But let's go on to the malicious side. We've said that, yeah, in friendships, you do gossip. Everyone does it. No matter how much they say they don't. Quite a lot of relationships are based on gossiping and finding out, like just talking about, for example, if you've got a friendship that you've had for years, you'll delve into, hey, do you know this so and so person's doing this? Because you're remembering your past.
Mm.
And then you're thinking, hey, where's that person, maybe, for example, now, and what are they doing? Have they become the person that we thought they were going to become?
Why is that important to us? If that person in the past has become whatever they've become, or they've moved to wherever they've moved to, and how many kids they've got, and this, that, and the other, is it because then we want to do a comparison with our own lives of, oh, have I made it in society where you expect, to be married at this age and then have kids at this age and then do this at that age and have a career at this age? Is it because we want to do a comparison in that case? And is
That's a
that why
really
we
good
gossip?
point. That's a really good point. I haven't thought of it in that perspective, to be honest. So yeah, maybe there is an element of that, and maybe it is if someone's not doing too well. Maybe you don't mean it in a horrible way,
But you're kind of happy
but you're kind of
because,
like, yeah, I'm doing better than that person. I'm not with like how bad that person is doing. I'm not like doing that. I'm better in a way.
but isn't that so bad though? Like, that's a really horrible thing, the
Yeah,
way you're putting it, isn't it?
but we all do comparisons, and usually when we're comparing ourselves, we'll do it with someone that's doing worse than us more than we're doing someone that's doing better than us.
No, I don't agree with that. Because
Don't
if
you?
you look at no, because if you look at social media, the reason Facebook has done so well is because you want to delve into someone's life, right?
Yeah.
Like, where are they living? What are they doing? And obviously, no one's going to put how crap life is on. Well, sometimes they do on Facebook, but you tend to see the shiny part of life on Facebook, and then you do the comparison of, oh my god, they look fab. Oh my god, I need to do this and sort myself out like this and that and the other. That's the whole point of social media, isn't it?
But is that gossip then?
Of
If you're
course it
just
is.
looking at a picture and saying that someone's looking good, I don't think that's gossip. In my mind, if they were doing really badly, then I don't know. Now it's making me question what gossip is, really. Suppose that's what all this podcast is about.
Exploring gossip. All right, let's go on a bit. Now, obviously, so it's the casual. Okay, here we are. Gossip. I've just Googled it because obviously, why would you not? The casual or unconstrained conversation or reports about other people, typically involving details that are not confirmed as being true. So there we are. So there could be an element of lies about it. There's no confirmation of it. So
That's
that's
it. But when you do a gal, toja masala like you do it. You're not going to have it like, hey, if it was you just told the story as it is, usually 9 times out of 10, the story would be boring. If you put a bit of masala, mirch masala on it, mix it about, it sounds better. Everyone does it. And sometimes you do it without knowing that you're doing it. No?
Do you think it's right to have? Well, we know that the answer is going to be no, but do you think it's right to have a laugh at someone's expense if they are going through something where you're like, oh my god, oh crap, oh ha ha ha, sort of thing? What do you think of that?
No, it's not right. But I'm sure in everyone, let's not pretend that we're all perfect, because we're not. I'm
What are
sure
you talking about?
I'm sure at some point we have had a lot, but thinking about it, I don't think I have. But I must have
I
at one
have.
point.
I have.
I
I
must
did
have
it
at
last
one
week.
really. I must have at one point laughed at someone's misery, not in a horrible
Not
way.
misery. No, you don't laugh at someone's misery, but you do. if they are the negative party in a story, then you do want to hear something negative about them.
Yeah. Okay, that's a better way of putting it because I sound evil, don't I?
Yeah, no, I didn't mean malicious. Again, that goes down to malicious. I don't think, unless you're a really horrible person, you'd laugh at
No, I
someone's
couldn't really.
misery.
No, I don't. You're right. I don't think I could.
Yeah, that's not.
Because
That's just wrong.
you'd sympathise with them.
Okay, so going back, because obviously we're looking at the Asian perspective on this, and we always bring up, and everyone always brings up, you know, the auntie.
I knew you were going to say that.
The
It's going to be
auntie.
a dig at me, isn't it?
Of course, it's going to be a dig at you. I mean, you love your auntie, right? But we don't do certain things in our lives, and this has come up a few times before. Of, you might not do something that makes you happy because what will people say?
And that is true. That holds us back on a lot of things, and maybe even holds us back from, I don't know, living our life and accomplishing our dream because you're so scared of what people are going to say. Actually, one thing that I did have a conversation about, I think a couple of months ago, or actually I've had it a few times, was when someone comes from India or another, like from another country, they'll kind of live their dream and not worry so much about the risk. Whereas someone that's lived in, for example, the UK, like it's not for everyone, but quite a lot of us don't take the risk because we're scared. And maybe we're scared about what the people are going to say around us that we haven't achieved what is expected of us.
But then this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, going back to the whole gossip and the concept of it, yes, we were putting gossiping as a positive, builds relationships, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to our own life and people are gossiping, yeah, we can say, oh no, it's water off the duck's back, as you said. But it's not, because that's the whole problem of why there is such a problem in people's mental health and things like that in the
Yeah,
South Asian community, because it comes down to that point. What will people say?
that is
You
true.
know,
I mean,
people decide not to divorce because what will people say is the gossip out there.
a massive thank you to the National Lottery for supporting Changing Suits.
In raising awareness of mental health in the South Asian community. I better not move out of the house, before marriage. What will
Oh,
people say?
actually, talking about that, I was talking to my mother-in-law about this actually the other day, and this is why I wanted to discuss this topic. Actually, I'm surprised that I forgot. So I was just talking to her, and we were just remembering something that happened, a conversation with someone. So I went out, and then basically we met up with friends or whatever, and one of our, well, I wouldn't say friends, someone that we knew came up to me and go, "Oh, I've heard that you've moved out, as in my family's moved out of my mother-in-law's house." It's like, yeah. And he goes, "Oh, what's behind that? What's
Oh my
going on?
God, he actually said that.
Yeah, it was a
How
bit like
rude.
an auntie thing to say. He's like, "What's behind that? Aren't you lot getting on?" And I was thinking, are you for real? Really? You're coming up to me and saying this, and you're not even ashamed of saying this to me?
That is so rude.
Yeah. And I
And what did
thought,
you reply?
I was like, first of all, I was shocked, and I go, "No, everything's fine." And I felt like I had to justify it. And I do this quite a lot. When someone finds out that we've moved out, I feel like we have to justify that we're still okay as a family, that there's nothing that's bad that's happened that's got us to move out.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual reason was when my kids are so loud and in the morning we shout our heads off. My mother-in-law was like, because we've been away from Norway for so long, they were used to the house being quiet.
I love
But
the fact
again,
that you just totally
I
justified it.
just done
I
it
didn't
again.
ask
I had
you.
to justify why I had to, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe
And
that man's listening.
well, yeah. But the thing is, the fact that I had to justify it, and I'm still justifying it, is because I'm worried about what people will gossip and say.
Do you know what? I mean, I think this is one aspect. I really don't, on this one of moving out, I don't really care about that. I don't think it's as big a deal here where we live as it obviously is where you live
But
for
the
some
reason,
reason.
but the reason why that is because this same particular lady that does the gossip, she's almost waiting for things to happen and basically to spread the gossip. So maybe that's what it is. Yeah, and that's the gossip element. You don't, yeah, so maybe some aspects I'll let things slide, and others, like, I'm justifying them.
Okay, so why was it different when that guy asked you about this, whereas when the woman did it, it's different? And I've
No,
got my own view on this actually.
no, they were two different topics. They were two different things.
Oh, sorry, but then again,
So wait, but it's funny that I say that because me splitting up with my husband didn't feel as big as me splitting up with the family.
there we
That
are,
is maybe a
conversation perspective.
that isn't maybe a question in itself. Why wasn't that a bigger issue that, hey, she's split up and gone away from her husband, rather than Dave's?
I'll tell you why, because I've joked about this a few times. Because it does turn into, if you've got that relationship where, yeah, you don't mind someone saying between yourself and your husband, it's just like, yeah, okay, whatever sort of thing. Whereas it becomes a bigger deal about your family because it's that respect talent. Not that you've got no respect, but you get what I mean. So I do get that. Okay, going back to the question that I just had in regards to why is it different when men say it and women say it. Now I've got my own opinion on this.
My thing was,
Hold
because
on, I've got my own opinion. You're just
I
totally cutting
wanted
me
to
off.
jump. Let me
All
just
right, go
say it,
for it.
my one,
Go
and
for
then
it.
you
Go
can
for it.
tell me if not that if I'm right or wrong, but see comparison. So
Okay, yeah,
I think,
I'll be the judge on this, of course. Yes.
so I think as you expect women to gossip, but you don't expect a man to gossip.
What? So it's okay for a woman to gossip, but not a man.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay for anyone to gossip. It's expected, and that is a very sexist thing that I'm saying.
That
It's
is so not
expected. I
true.
am no look. Okay, say for
I'll tell you why that's not true.
go on then.
Because I've spent a lot of time where, in the positions that I've had, where I've been around men, right? And it's funny, when men are left to their own devices, they do exactly the same thing. They will gossip. The difference is they don't call it gossiping. They'll call it, I don't know, something like
Go.
talking about politics or something like that, right?
Yeah.
To justify it, or something like that. Whereas for women, they'll be like, yeah, she's gossiping, and that's even women will say it about themselves. So men will be seen as the positive light of, oh yeah, they're just passing information, whereas women are bitching.
That's very true. You are right, because I remember you've come home and you've said,
Yeah, I was in a conversation where people are talking about this is how ridiculous. This isn't gossip, but it made me laugh. Where they were talking about X Factor, Cheryl Cole, and sorry, just to clarify, it was older Asian men that were talking about it. I mean, it wasn't in a weird way. It was just a really funny conversation that I was privy to. But what I'm saying is, it's just the perspective of women do it and it's bitching, but men do it and it's fine.
but
Not that I'm
wait,
bitching on men now.
okay, so this is kind of taking it away from gossip. But for example, if you got a mother-in-law and a father-in-law,
Hmm.
and in your family, and obviously you are who you are, a woman in the married into the family, and if the mother-in-law says something to you, it's kind of expected that she'll be horrible, because there's this whole persona of the mother-in-law being the evil witch, should I say, evil one.
Mm.
But if a father-in-law does it, you don't expect it. And we've had this conversation where we've said, if a father-in-law, for example, does it,
Yeah,
why is he doing it? That's wrong.
yeah, I do agree, and that was the point of view that I was going to take, because it is a bit more shocking. As in, why is he doing the shit stirring? Like, what is up with that? Like, get over it, sort of thing. It's not your place to be doing that. But
So
how
it's
wrong
not
is
your
that?
place. Yeah.
Exactly. But how wrong is it? The fact that we've said it's not your place to do it.
Again, something so ingrained in us that women gossip, and not that it's right for them to do that, but it's expected that they'll do that. But if a
Mm.
man does it, then you'll be like, what? What's going on? I think we have been a bit contradicting on this, but
Yes. See, in the room, like in if we're going to be politically correct and all this sort of thing, it's all the same thing. Men do it, women do it. We all bitch. We all have a gossip. We all do this. But in real life, especially in an Asian household, if it is that whole mother and father-in-law thing, I agree. You know, I've, I have had conversations with people that I know where the father-in-law has said something, and you're like, that is so weird, because you're
it's not
right,
his place. Yeah,
it's
why is
not
he
his
doing
place.
that? Yeah, but what is
So
it? So is it the mother-in-law's place? It isn't, but it's expected that the mother-in-law
but
will
the
be
other
this
thing is,
character.
if there was a fight, right,
Mm.
we always expect the man to take over and say, you know, the man will make sure that everything goes smoothly, or they'll be the one that has the final say, all this sort of stuff. Because even if a woman says one thing, that one thing
Oh, that's true.
will be taken up and said, well, she said this. And then all of a sudden, it's about a fight about what the mother-in-law said. And this whole thing has come around because the mother-in-law had said this one thing, which isn't true.
Yeah, and there have been circumstances, for example, that we know of where women don't go to an event or something, like the mother-in-law doesn't, because she doesn't want to accidentally say something wrong, and anyone pick it up. So she's like, "No, you go to the event. It's fine."
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm being very undercover because I don't want to reveal the person.
Yeah, so I'm not convinced by that one. I don't agree. Women don't go to events because they might be seen as bitching about something. I don't think that's true.
Well,
Even from the example that you've just given me when I press pause.
yeah, now the listener's going to be like, what did they discuss?
So anyway, so in hindsight, yes, gossiping's bad, but in reality, there are some positives and there are some obviously negatives. But where it then gets into a sticky situation of where I don't agree is when it affects someone's mental health and it has that negative impact on someone's life because of it. And that happens most of the time in South Asian community, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, for example, if someone's they're over a particular age, for example, I don't know, 35, I'm just randomly saying an age. If they're at that age, and I think it's older now because people are getting married older. But anyway, let me get to my point.
Yes, please do.
Say if they don't get married, then people gossip and say, "Oh, why isn't this person got married? What's going on?" Why do you always look puzzled whenever I say anything? I swear.
No, I agree. No, I agree with you. I agree, and
I
it's the
thought
same thing.
you live in a different world.
No, I agree with that. And also, if someone doesn't have kids for a while, and then people find, I was talking about this the other day with someone, and then people find it I know we've discussed this, their place to start talking about why they haven't had kids after, a year of getting married, because obviously everyone needs to, as soon as they get married, have kids straight away. And it's like, well, actually, it's none of your business. But I think, again, I always say it's about raising awareness about these things of actually, you know what, it's quite rude. Because I've been in that situation. I always say it. I've been in the situation where I've said it and then realised my mistake. And now I do accept that I was wrong in saying it in the first place. So I think it is raising awareness as to it can really hurt someone's feelings because something actually may well be going on that is none of your business.
But you know something? Sometimes you say something and you don't mean it in a malicious way, but the person listening takes it in a malicious way. But then that comes down to if someone feels bullied, then if the bullier,
Then it
I
is
don't,
bullying.
then it is bullying. I don't think bully is a word, but the person bullying
Yeah.
doesn't think that they're bullying. Obviously, they're not going to because they think they're being nice as pie.
Yeah. It's all perspective, isn't it? That's the whole point of gossiping. But then, like I said, I've been in politics. You can see everyone's point of view in certain things because this person's seen it from this point of view, that one's seen it from that point of view. That's the whole point of politics.
Yeah.
Right? It's the angle you're looking at it. Anyway, so moving on. So if you're the person being gossiped about because you are that lucky and someone has taken the time in their precious lives to talk about you, which, like I said, I have no problem. I want people talking about me, preferably good news, hate bad news. So just spread my love out there. But if you're the one that's being gossiped about, what do you do? Do you go to the person and confront them? Or do you just let sleeping dogs lie? Dogs being sometimes the operative word.
Oh. To be honest, I don't think I would confront the person as we have worked out at the beginning of the podcast, where I thought I confronted them, and then we both thought that is not in my character.
That
That
doesn't
is
sound
not in
right
my character
right
at all. So I'd probably let them. I'd probably get really upset over certain things, like we said, but not confront them still, and just let it eat me up. And that's what happens to quite a lot of us, and that's what affects our mental health.
And that is where the issue is, because then that's what plays on our mind, and the other person hadn't even realised it was happening.
But wait, say if you do confront the person and that person's like, nope, I didn't say it. So where does that you end up anyway? Was there a point of confronting that person?
Well, yeah, because that thing that festered in your mind of, oh my God, this is what they're saying, wasn't actually what was happening. In which case, you need it to get out of your mind now. It's not happened.
No, but wait, say they are gossiping, but they're almost not admitting it, like lying that they didn't.
Oh, but you bitch, you're lying.
Yeah, but would you really say that? I don't think you
Of
would.
course not.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry, I got it so wrong. That's what you'd actually say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think I'm a bitch as well. No, I mean, yeah, I don't think I'd confront someone. And I find it, I've been in a situation where it's quite clear someone has spoken about me and a fight has arisen with me and someone else. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to bitch about me, keep it to yourself. Don't don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. That's between you who's talking about me, not me. Just saying.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think, like I said, I'm not the kind of person that will confront. But then there are people that go up and say, well, no, this is how it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Well done to that person.
Maybe we should
No?
learn from that person. But maybe that's why people do gossip, because they know that the person's not going to confront them.
Maybe.
I think
Maybe.
that might be an element that you're not going to get confronted and held up for it, or you think that you're not going to get caught gossiping.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think there is that element of you don't think you're going to get caught. It was the same as your auntie friend who
Was
said that
red
you'd split
faced.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't think that she'd go and tell her.
Yeah,
Right?
because you
Tell
want
you,
to.
sorry.
Yeah, because you want to secretly, spread it but not get caught. Is it
But
almost
also,
like a threat in itself then?
that's what I was just about to say. So sometimes you find out news, and you'll understand this because you're
No,
like,
this is headache.
where it's a case of you found something out, and you have to be the first one to tell the other person before that person who the thing was about
I
gets there
know what you're
first.
talking about.
Of course, you know what I'm talking about, but I know this. You get the thrill out of this.
I
You
didn't.
want to be the spreader. You're like the pollinator.
I Look, the
News.
listeners are probably thinking, what are you talking about? So, what was it? So, my brother in law had COVID and he said, don't tell anyone else.
So 5 minutes later, the whole of our family knew. Our next door neighbours knew. Their next door neighbours knew. And we
No,
were
what
all
happened was he knows, and everyone in our family knows
that you
that
don't
if
tell Taj if you don't want anyone else to
no,
know.
they know. If I know, then you know.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and like,
Yeah, fair enough.
so that's their own fault.
Yeah, but the funny thing I always find, this happened last week, I can't remember what it was about. You're like, okay, but don't tell mum and dad. And then I find mum and dad and they already know. I'm like, okay. Of course, they had started the subject. I hadn't started it because I wasn't going to be the one that spread that one.
I
That's
am,
not true.
and by the way, I only do it in our family.
Yeah, yeah. And this is one thing. I mean, this has always been a funny thing. Yeah, most people, but yeah, it's only within, we don't tend to say outside. It's usually within our inner circle. So if you tell me, Taj probably already knew the news as well. Just to let you know, even if she doesn't even know the person, it doesn't matter.
Well, there's been times when I've said to our brother, right, this is between us. Don't tell Bal.
That's because you've been talking about me, about,
That's true as well.
and then it's like, I already know that you're talking about me, to the point where when on FaceTime, where that I've just come off the call because I said, okay, I'm watching TV and I don't want to carry on talking to you guys. I know that if I click back into that join button, that you'll be mid-sentence. And that's basically what it's like. Yeah, that's what it's like, people. Siblings. My siblings, should I say.
You're making us sound evil. We're not.
No, it's fine. I don't mind. It's funny because we did the same thing to you. Anyway, so on that point, I think we're going to wrap this one up. Gossiping. Always an enjoyable pastime. But let's always be careful. We are talking about someone else sometimes, and we don't want to ruin their lives. So if you are gossiping, enjoy yourself, but don't overstep the mark and make someone else upset. That's my opinion. What do you think, Taj?
I completely agree. If it's
Oh my God, she completely agrees with me.
But if it's something that's light and fun and not there to hurt someone or malicious, go for it, because we all gossip. Let's not lie.
And on that point, my name's Bal.
And my name's Taj.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.